Hi there, this is Eileen with SOAR, and this is Seeing the World Through Trifocals. In 2007, at the young age of 63, my husband and I took our first motorcycle trip. He had a nice motorcycle for several years, and we often took short rides, but we finally felt it was time to do it right. Besides, I loved the look on my coworkers when they asked where I was going for the next 2 weeks, and I said, Bill and I are taking the motorcycle and going to the Grand Canyon. I don't think anyone totally believed me until I brought back the pictures. That was the last time anyone doubted me about my plans. Now, this wasn't your ordinary crotch rocket like bike. This was the Cadillac version. We had a Yamaha Royal Star Venture. We had intercom between Bill and I sat on what Bill called my throne behind him. It's a good thing it was so luxurious, because he spent so much time concentrating on the road that about the only thing he said when we were actually on the road was, keep talking, keep taking pictures, tell me what you see, so I can enjoy our trip when we get home. He was so focused on watching that road ahead of him. And that's exactly what I did. I swiveled from left to right, snapping off my camera every few seconds. Well, except for that time when a storm came up and I had to put the camera down and hang on because we were driving at about a 50-degree angle. I think my fingerprints are still in the metal side grip. And then there was that other time when we were the only ones on the road out in West New Mexico, and we saw a tornado in the distance. And there not only were no cars to be seen, but no houses and no ditches to take refuge in. He just yelled, hang on and don't look at the speedometer. I did both, but he later told me we were in the 90s. To this day, he won't tell me the exact number. Outside of a few setbacks now and then, it was a wonderful time. People later asked why. My answer was, because we could, and no one thought we should. There was a time when I was the one telling the children to behave, don't do anything silly, and use common sense. The same instructions my parents had told me for years. On that trip, I discovered that all those instructions, although probably wise, weren't necessarily fun. Bill and I learned a lot about ourselves, but I think I learned the most. For 68 years, I had tried to be what everyone else expected me to be, and on this trip, I was me. Maybe the first time in my life I had allowed myself to be me, and it was fun. My new favorite word became awesome. Everywhere I looked, I saw beauty, whether we were in the mountains, the desert, heading into downtown Albuquerque past a road sign that said wind gust around next corner, or on a road where no one was to be seen in any direction. The world seemed awesome, and I had never taken the time to see it. I suspected there were too many people like me who had decided they had too many responsibilities to enjoy the beauty that was all around, to feel the wind in their face and not worry about their hairdo, who spent hundreds of dollars a month looking good on the outside, while the inside aged and longed to be set free. Just in case, my mother was one of those people 3 years later. For her 90th birthday, we took the same trip with her. No, not on the motorcycle, but in our car. She talked about it until the day she died. How she felt younger just remembering the joy of that trip. One of the highlights of our trip was toward the end. We had seen Mesa Verde, the Grand Canyon, Palo Duro Canyon, and we were now on our way to the Meteor Crater in Arizona when my husband says, do you know we've ridden over 1,000 miles and spent most of our time looking at holes in the ground? I realized he was right, but I still wanted to see this huge crater. It's 4,000 feet in diameter, 600 feet deep, and can be seen from outer space. Yes, it was just a hole in the ground, but as I stood on the ridge and looked down at it, I was overwhelmed with a single thought. Awesome. Do you know how old-timers used to say that a person's belly button was supposedly what God said whenever a new baby was born? You're done. Well, as we all stood there, I could hear one after another person saying, "What is this, really? Why is it here? Do you think it means anything?" I looked down and I knew instantly what it was. I've done enough craft projects where people put their fingerprints into plaster. This looked exactly like the indentation left on the plaster. I smiled real big and said, "It's God's fingerprint." When he finished creating the earth, he looked down. Pointing his finger, he touched the planet and said, "You're done." That's the only explanation. I don't think everyone agreed with me, but I know what I know, and I know God created the earth and all the fantastic things I had seen. And although the Bible says he said it's good, I think he meant to say, "You're done." Today's t-shirt statement is, "I'm on my second guardian angel. My first one quit and is now in therapy." Make a memory today. I'll see you next time.